My name is Jalal Nuruddin, and I'm the leader of the Last Poets.
Oh, I'm Suleiman from the Last Poets.
Did you like the show?
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. Yeah.
You played bigger gigs as this?
Well, yeah, we played biggest gigs like this before. Yeah.
You guys must have seen anything, everything. I mean,
Well, we covered 25 years. That's a quarter of a century. So, we started out at the Apollo Theater, and we've been doing it ever since for 25 years. We worked with B.B. King, Stevie Wonder, Curtis Mayfield, Aretha Franklin, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Max Roach, who's who in show business is who we work with.
you've seen it all. What do you think of the music scene today?
Well, I think it's still evolving, but I think it's the overuse of electronics and less traditional, with the exception of Europe. I think Europe more still appreciates traditional music, and I think there's a fusion between technology and music right now, and sometimes it's too much technology and not enough traditional music, so I think that there should be a balance.
What do you think about dance music?
About dance music.
Yeah, like house.
Well, it depends on what kind of dance you want to do. I prefer traditional dances myself, or cultural dances. So if you go to different countries, they have their national dances, and I prefer that type of dancing, spiritual dancing, like the whirling dervishes and stuff like that. But I think dancing is good for people, and I think people should engage themselves. But I think it should be cultural.
And you think house is cultural?
Well, I think house is subcultural. In other words, it's the current trend based on the enhancement of the technology.
Think it'll last?
No, I think it's a trend that'll come to an end, or a fad that'll fade, and then they'll come up with something new, like maybe cave music or something. Like they got jungle right now. That's the latest thing.
Yeah, what do you think about that hear
Well, if I want to hear some jungle music, I'll go to the jungle, man, and listen to them play.
You don't dig that? Because I mean, it's like when you're in London, you can't deny it. It's totally big. It's a total, what do you say, melting pot of like all styles of dance music.
Let's just repeat that, please.
It's a melting pot of total different styles of music.
Well, yeah, but I think that it's good for the people. I think house, jungle, and all. I think it's good in bringing people together. So I like that aspect of it. And bringing people together. But in the process of bringing people together, I still am interested in the national dance of each country. You see, so I know that Holland, for example, has a national dance where they wear the shoes and everything. They do the national dance. Now that might be square to some people, but I think that's very interesting. I've seen the Russians do their dance, and where they kick their feet up. I can't do it. You see, I think that's interesting. I've seen the Spanish do their national dance.
Okay, now what do you think about Dutch young kids, who especially look at popular hip hop bands like Public Enemy, and taking their style? They don't want to dance on wooden shoes.
Well, I think every artist should try to find themselves, and in the process of finding themselves, they'll find their own originality, and it'll be spontaneous. And then from there, they can improvise, and they can evolve the music and evolve the style.
Okay. Talking about the Last Poets, I heard there were two Last Poets. How's that?
Well, there's the past poets, and there's the last poets. The past poets were the poets who started out with us in the beginning. We started in '68, and they started with us in the beginning. And that was Abiy O'Doon, and it was Omar bin Hassan. But Abiy O'Doon left in '68. He recorded one album with us before we turned professional. And Omar bin Hassan left in 1974 to pursue their own individual careers, mind you. So Omar bin Hassan returned in 1992 at our invitation to do a film with Janet Jackson, and the name of the film was called Poetic Justice. John Singleton, who was a young filmmaker at that time, was 24 years old, and he had a big hit movie with Boys in the Hood, and so he became hip to the Last Poets. So when he became hip to the Last Poets, he became hip to our first album, and he wasn't hip to what we were doing in the present time, but he liked one track off that album, and he wanted it in the soundtrack of his movie. So in order for that track from the first album, which was written by Omar bin Hassan, which was called Niggas Are Scared of Revolution, to be in the movie, we had to reach out for Omar. So we reached out for Omar. Omar came back, and we did the movie, the soundtrack, okay? They edited most of it, so you only see a bit of us, like a few seconds, all right? And the movie was not a hit or nothing because it was Janet Jackson's first movie, although Janet Jackson is nice and everything. And subsequently, I had to return to England. We were in America. I had to return to England because I was working there. I was living in England at the time. And I told Omar to look out for Suleiman while I'm going. Instead, Omar went and got Abbey O'Doon from the past, which is what he was familiar with. He teamed up with Abbey O'Doon, and they decided they wanted to be the Last Poets again. So they got the backing of Bill Laswell, who formerly had backed me and Suleiman. Okay, they got his backing, and he allowed them to make an album.
I heard even George Clinton contributed to the new album.
Who's going to do an album?
George Clinton.
George Clinton's going to do a new album? With who?
He's going to work with them for the new album.
Oh, he's going to work with them for the new album.
Yeah.
Well, George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, who else? All of those people in that genre are friends of Bill Laswell. Okay, so Bill Laswell introduced him to George Clinton. They're going to do some collaboration. They're going to do some collaboration. And what you will hear basically is you will hear the evolution of the Last Poets as far as me and Suleiman is concerned. In other words, we evoluted the art form, and from them you will hear where they were at in 1970, musically and lyrically. Abbey O'Doon and Umar bin Hassan did not rhyme on the first album. They wrote prose, and they spoke in prose, okay? I was the only one that rhymed. I became lonely, okay? So I had to find me a poet who could rhyme like me, and that's where Suleiman came in. You see, once I teamed up with Suleiman, we were able to gel the art form. I couldn't gel the art form or make it come together until 1976 with the record The Lights of the Garden, when me and Suleiman teamed up, and then we got the proper percussive sound that we wanted, and I achieved the sound and the evolution, and that set the foundation for the Last Poets to evolve to what they are today.
So there's no discussion possible. You're the only one true real Last Poets. You two.
Well,
First of all, none of them stayed with the group longer than a year, with the exception of Umar bin Hassan, because I came to the group 1970. So first album, Umar bin Hassan and Jalal, Abbey O'Doon is on, but he's not on any other album, which was made in 1969 and released in 1970. And on the second album, which is the second part to that arrangement with Douglas Records, Jalal and Umar on it. And the third album is myself and Jalal, and Umar's not on the third album, but Umar came back on the fourth album. You know what I mean? And then he left again, and he stayed with us a year. So really, actually, Abbey O'Doon and the others who were with them at first, the first album, on the first album, were gone by the 1970. They were all gone. So really, Abbey O'Doon was gone over 20 years. Umar was gone 18 years away from the group. But during this period, Jalal and myself was working the whole time.
Yeah. You two actually instigated this enormous popular scene, hip-hop, everything connected to it. You saw it all grow. What do you think of it, how it is now?
well, I'll tell you something. Originally, the Last Poets started out as a political community activist, all right? And what we wanted to do was to articulate what 400 years of the legacy of slavery meant to us emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually in America. Because all this was kept, hidden inside of our guts. Our parents, that generation, couldn't speak out what they felt, as far as the legacy goes. So we were able to do that from my generation on up, which was the 60s generation, you see? So once we were able to articulate all that pain of suffering, you see, then that began the birth of what is called rap today. See, the word rap means to indict. It means an indictment. In other words, place the blame upon the guilty party. So the word rap is used in the American English lexicon, and it's been used by both black and white America, but it's been used by white America to mean blame, and it's been used by black America to mean speak. Okay, so now it means both. Okay, but we were rapping. What we call rapping was having informed conversations that did not rhyme. The actual heart of the art form is called toasting, which has no connection with Jamaica toasting. That was a separate evolvement. But the actual art form is called toasting, and toasting goes back to the 20s. So I was raised on toast. I'm a toastmaster. And a toast is like almost like a cartoon rap, you see, but it has subtle political implications. I was able to see the subtle political implications, because it's like criticizing without letting anyone know that you're criticizing. So you really have to be intellectually astute to dig what's happening. And so I was able to see this and remove that aspect from it and put it into poetry and make what's called rap today. So as far as rap goes, I'm the only one of the original last poets that rapped, because I'm the only one that rhymed. And if it don't rhyme, as far as I'm concerned, it's not on time.
Is a good rap always politically?
No, it's not always political. But I'll tell you what Hugh Masekela told me one time. He said, life is political. So let's examine the word political. Political is actually policy. Politicians make policy, okay? Yeah, right. So what's your policy on air? What's your policy on water? What's your policy on housing? What's your policy on crime? What's your policy on food? You see what I'm saying? So then policy becomes political. You see what I'm saying? So as far as that goes, we've been political all our lives, But a politician is an official policy maker, all right? But the problem is his ambition corrupts him or her because power absolutely corrupts, you see? So show me the person who wants to be the leader, and I'll show you the person who leads you to hell. Show me the person that does not want to be the leader, that you have to force him to become your leader, and I'll show you a person who will keep his word because he didn't want the job and didn't have the ambition in the first place.
Who was that? Who is that?
Oh, that was thousands of years ago, man. There ain't nothing like that happening today.
You don't believe in the second coming?
I don't believe in what?
The second coming?
Yeah. I believe in hope. I believe that hope is the counter to despair. I believe in the hopes of the people. I want the people all over the planet Earth to achieve their hopes and their ambition. I want the emphasis placed on.
Find it very. That's impressive, because you saw Martin Luther King being shot. You saw Malcolm X being shot.
Yeah, I saw all of these things, but.
You still have hope?
Well, you see, it's like this. Malcolm wanted me to hope. Martin Luther King wanted me to hope. You see what I'm saying? So they didn't want me to give up because they got killed. They didn't want me to lose hope because they got killed. As long as there's life, there's hope. But the decision is up to us. If we blow the planet Earth, we can't blame nobody but ourselves. If we let our leaders make negative decisions on our behalf, that we don't have nobody to blame but ourselves, then we've cut our nose to spite our face.
Yeah. What do you think about the O.J. Simpson trial? I can't avoid it.
Well,
is it a media hype?
Well, I don't really think of the O.J. Simpson trial, to tell you the truth. I'm not into like a hero worship kind of thing. O.J. Simpson was a football player. Whether he killed his wife or not, I don't know. And to tell you the truth, I don't really care. It's not really any of my business. And if he did kill his wife, then he's not the first man to do it, nor has never a husband been killed by a wife. So, listen, man and woman been fighting since Adam and Eve. So what I think of the O.J. Simpson trial is that what does not come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. So I think that Black America has one opinion, and I think white America has another opinion, and that all goes all the way back to slavery, and it has a lot to do with sex. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's the underlying issue. You understand? Whether or not this black man had the right to kill his white woman. I think that's the underlying issue. Even though she was lawfully wedded to him and they divorced. Actually, they were just man and wife. It wouldn't matter whether it's black, white, red, green, or yellow. They just had a dispute as man and wife. That could happen to anybody. You see what I'm saying? So I think it should be dealt with that way as the man and wife issue, not a black and white issue, even though it is black and white. America makes sure that it's black and white. They don't let you get away from that. They don't say man and woman. Is it black and white, then man, black man, then white woman. See what I'm saying? So I think we need to, remove the racial connotations to it, because you have many interracial couples. O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown wasn't the only black man and white woman or white man, black woman that's walking around on planet Earth that have a dispute, maybe have a fight, maybe have a disagreement, maybe even kill each other. So why make a big deal of it when he's not just the only solitary black man who was hooked up with a white woman on the planet Earth?